All right.
Hi, Riley.
Hey, Reagan. All right. So the last 3 Wednesday nights, what have we been talking about?
Congratulations.
You're gifted.
The words.
Good, y'all can read the screen. All right.
Your
So,
ability.
all right. So what did we talk about 2 weeks ago? What's the word what's the 5-letter word that we're talking about?
Shape.
Shape. All right. So 2 weeks ago we talked about what? What was the S? Spiritual gifts. Heart, which is what?
H, what you are.
What you're passionate about, right? Your heart is passion. All right. So tonight we're talking about A. What is A?
Ability.
All right. So we're talking about natural abilities.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, yeah, I think I didn't know.
So Tom Patterson, who's an author, writes, "Show me a person who doesn't know his talents or hasn't developed them for service to others, and I will show you a person who has little sense of purpose, meaning, motivation, and value." So what do you think that means? Dissect that quote.
He's saying if the people who don't have talents, he wants them to come to him. And then at the end, the second part of it, he says that he will show little sense of purpose, meaning, motivation, and value in them.
Okay. So what it's saying is someone who hasn't taken the time to truly understand what they're good at is probably not motivated to do it, right? If you don't understand what your talent is and you haven't taken the time to develop and understand what you're talented in, then you probably don't have a lot of motivation. You're probably sitting around like a lump of coal on a couch, right? You're not doing anything to help yourself or to help other people. So the question is, what are you good at? Maybe you're good at rallying friends to a cause. Maybe you're good at singing or playing an instrument. Maybe you're good at building or designing things. Maybe it's getting to know new people, generating new ideas, helping people in need, or in Riley's case, dancing. So studies show that nearly 80% of adult Americans go to work every Monday knowing they will not use their natural skills this week. I can tell you, I am one of those 80%. I like talking to people, and I like just getting out and getting to know people, and probably 75 to 80% of my job is sitting at a desk doing paperwork. That results from those conversations. So I get to use my natural skills a small portion of the time. And in doing that, I get to generate business for myself and for the bank. But the problem is when I'm sitting there having to do all the paperwork that's done behind it, that doesn't take advantage of my natural skills because I am not very organized. Thank goodness I have a loan assistant who can help me make sure that all the paperwork gets done properly. So about 80% of the time that I spend at work, I am not using my natural talents. That's just kind of part of my job. That's my job responsibility. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and you're going to see that in a second, doing what I'm supposed to do, but it doesn't always make the best use of my talents. Cody, what about you?
What's my best talent?
In your job, in teaching, what percentage of your time do you spend using your natural talents?
Most of the time, because I can do a lot of different things at one time.
Okay, Miss Cody is multi-talented and obviously good at everything, or so she thinks.
No, I'm not good at everything.
But in teaching, you love to teach and work with students.
Mm-hmm.
And in your current role at Fort Dale, you get to spend a lot more time doing that than you did in the public school system, right?
Yes.
So the frustration that Ms. Cody voiced a lot of times was that the paperwork that's involved in public schools and the bureaucracy that's involved in public schools a lot of times takes away from time actually working with the students and being creative. And so that was something that she's really enjoyed this year because she's been able to spend more time doing what she's really good at, and that's getting on a one-on-one level with the students, being creative and teaching. So in every job, it's very rare to find a job where 100% of your job is using your natural talents and abilities. There's always going to be that piece to that job that is something that you have to do, not necessarily something that you want to do. But the goal is you want to try, part of the reason that we're trying to identify these talents and identify these abilities is that as you are progressing into high school and progressing into college and progressing through college, the goal is you want to find something that you really love doing. And so by identifying that early and identifying what you're talented at early, it helps to kind of lay that foundation going forward. If you know that, you can try to choose things that will take you down that path. So when you go home tonight, ask your parents if they use their natural skills in their daily work, and if not, why not? So why is it important to know our natural God-given abilities? Too often as adults, we look back and realize we have wasted our lives doing what the world tells us we are supposed to do, just like I mentioned, rather than using the true talents and gifts God gave us and finding opportunities matched to those gifts, passions, and abilities. Now the truth is, if I had followed what my talents were when I was in college, I probably would have gone into education and ended up being a teacher or an administrator. Because I do enjoy working with students, and I do enjoy talking and getting on that level. The reason that I didn't do that was because both of my parents were very well-known educators, and my pride got in the way of not wanting to always be recognized as just their son. So I decided to go out in my own direction and do something completely different so that I could make a name for myself. If I was smart, I would have stayed where I was and gone into education and been a lot further down the road. Yes, sir.
Mama said you missed your opportunity to be a preacher.
I don't think I can be a preacher. I can be a speaker, but I don't have Brother Johnny's talents. Like we talked about pastoral care the other day, and we talked about how pastoral care was that kind of bedside manner and being able to truly care about and not get so tied up in the emotion, but still be empathetic and sympathetic enough to really deal with health situations and death and all those things. I don't know that I can do that. So I enjoy speaking, but I don't know that I can do all of the other things that I think it takes to truly be a pastor and the things that I think that Brother Johnny excels so well in. Those are not my spiritual gifts, and they are certainly not my talents. So, but rather than using the true talents and gifts God gave us and finding opportunities matched to those gifts, passions, and abilities, we end up doing something different. Either we follow the path that our parents led for us and we go into what they did, or like in my case, we don't want to follow their path because we don't want to always be in their shadow, and so we do something completely different. So a lot of times we make decisions based on emotional things versus where our natural talents lie. So as you think about your talents and abilities, it's important that you consider not just what you can do, but what it is that you love to do. Think about the one thing that if you had to do it forever, you'd be happy. Alright, so we need pens and paper. And y'all are going to have to write fast, because I'm going to go through them fast, and I don't want you thinking. I just want impulse.
I can't write fast.
Well,
If
you
I
can
write
jot
fast,
notes.
you
I mean,
won't be able
it's
to read it.
all right. So when you get this pad and paper, I want you to make 3 columns on the paper. Just draw 2 lines, make you 3 columns. All right. The first column is going to be the love it column. Love it is something that you cannot imagine life without these activities. Okay. So 3 columns: love it, like it, and live without it. Love it, you can't imagine life without these activities. Like it, you may enjoy these activities, but you don't have to do them regularly to be satisfied. Live without it, these actions leave you feeling tired and disappointed. Okay, the reason I'm not going to give you a lot of time is because I don't want you to think. I want your natural impulse. When I read these talents, I want you to immediately react. Do I love doing that? Do I like doing that? Or could I do without doing that? Okay? So number 1, has everybody got their columns ready? Alright. Number 1 is adapting, the ability to adjust, change, alter, or modify. Number 2 is analyzing, the ability to examine, investigate, probe, or evaluate.
Wait, what? I thought the 3 columns were love it, like it, and live without it.
Those are the 3 columns, and as I read these talents, you write down the talent in whichever column it applies. Do you love it, like it, or can you live without it? Let's see, is listening one of these?
I just put live it, love it, like it, and live without it, and put tally mark in there.
Can you please
No,
repeat?
write down the word that I say first. So adapting is number one. Write it in whichever column it applies. Love it, like it, or live without it. So adapting is number one, the ability to adjust, change, alter, or modify. Number two is analyzing, the ability to examine, investigate, probe, or evaluate. You either love it, like it, or can live without it. Number three is building, the ability to construct, make, or assemble. Number four is coaching, the ability to prepare, instruct, train, equip, or develop. Number five is communicating, the ability to share, convey, or impart. Number six is competing, the ability to contend, win, or battle. Number seven is computing, the ability to add, estimate, total, or calculate. Number eight is connecting. Hey.
The girl somewhere.
Oh, come on in.
Hey, come on. I'm sorry, I couldn't even see you over there. How are you? Yay! I'm so happy to see you. All right,
Grab a notepad and a pen.
All right.
What was the one after computing?
The one after computing was connecting, the ability to link together, involve, or relate.
Here you go. You're loving it. You either love it. Oh, hey. Give me this. I can bring her home. Oh. Let's see. Love, like.
All right, so everybody should have 8 words written
I only
down.
got 4.
Oh, we got 7.
How many are there? Are there like
So
12?
there's 50 total.
Oh, are we doing all 50?
You're gonna do all
Yes.
50?
Okay, well, my
All right, you either write like the first word he says, you listen to it, and you really kind of just don't think about it.
See, I did it
you
like
just
that. I
write,
couldn't number it.
like,
and
if you
divide
love it,
into
if you
two.
like
I
it,
probably
read,
should have just
you
gone
live
straight
without
down the page, shouldn't I?
that's
Yeah,
what I
but it really doesn't, I mean, you don't have to keep, I mean, you can go back in and fill in space. I
Okay.
mean, it's really not gonna,
Good point.
yeah, you can just go in and fill in space.
Mark up.
Because you're gonna end up with, you know, probably 10 to 15 in each column. So you got plenty, you should have plenty of space.
I didn't think about it.
I'm not good at this, because I'm fine with liking all of these, just about.
Well, that's the whole point. You can like a lot. Odds are you're only going to love 4 or 5 things. You're going to like a lot of it, and then there's going to be some that you really just don't care about. The majority of them will fall into the like column, because you can take it or leave it. Okay? All right? So love it means that you can't live without it. You can't live without doing this. Like it means you can take it or leave it. And live without it means you'd rather not do it. Okay? All right? So the last one that we went to was connecting, the ability to link together, involve, or relate. All right? That's the 8th. We should have adapting, analyzing, building, coaching, communicating, competing, computing, and connecting. So number 9 is consulting, the ability to advise, discuss, or confer. Number 10 is cooking, the ability to prepare, serve, feed, or cater.
Can somebody do it for me?
It says if you like to do
Okay.
it. Number 11 is coordinating, the ability to organize, match, or harmonize.
What was that one, organizing?
Coordinating.
Oh, coordinating.
Number 12 is counseling, the ability to guide, advise, support, listen, or care for. Number 13 is creating, the ability to envision, design, and develop. Number 14 is decorating, the ability to beautify, enhance, or adorn.
Wait, what was 2 ago
Counseling,
after that?
creating. All right, number 15 is designing, the ability to draw, create, picture, or outline.
Well, could it also be a 3D object, or can I like it too?
Whatever you think it is.
Your take on it?
Developing, the ability to expand, grow, advance, or increase.
What was that one?
Developing.
Say it again.
Developing the
Okay.
ability to expand, grow, advance, or increase. Directing the ability to aim, oversee, manage, or supervise. Editing, the ability to correct, amend, alter, or improve. Encouraging, the ability to cheer, inspire, or support. Engineering, the ability to construct, design, or plan.
Some of these kind of overlap, don't
Some
they?
of them do, yeah. Facilitating, the ability to help, aid, assist, or make possible. Forecasting, the ability to predict, calculate, see trends, patterns, and themes. Implementing, the ability to apply, execute, and make happen. Improving, the ability to better, enhance, further, and enrich.
What was that, what it wasn't?
Improving. Influencing, the ability to affect, sway, shape, or change. Ms. Cody will tell you that's my strongest talent.
To
26,
do what was it?
influencing.
Yeah.
She calls it manipulating, I call it influencing. 26
The
is
way you do it.
landscaping, the ability to garden, plant, or improve. 27 is leading, the ability to pave the way, direct, excel, or win.
You like that.
28 is learning, the ability to study, gather, understand, improve, and expand self.
Nah.
I don't know about studying, but
29 is managing, the ability to run, handle, or oversee.
Depends on what it is.
Number 30 is mentoring, the ability to advise, guide, or teach.
Or let them all.
Okay, hold on, we're in that space.
Okay, next time I need to type out a little list, I need to type out a little thing so we can get it.
No, because then you put too much, you think too much. The whole purpose of this is impulse.
no,
Talk
it's
about-
a list.
All right, motivating, the ability to provoke, induce, or prompt.
Paul's got chocolate in my fingers.
Yeah, I wasn't listening either, I'm sorry.
Motivating,
Motivating, but
the ability to provoke, induce, or prompt.
Yeah.
Negotiating, the ability to discuss, consult, or settle.
No, I just said it's stupid.
Operating, the ability to run mechanical or technical things.
That's definitely the mode mark.
Organizing, the ability to simplify, arrange, fix, classify, or coordinate.
What was that word?
Organizing.
Oh, yeah, that's me.
Not me.
That is my weakness.
Performing, the ability to sing, speak, dance, play an instrument, or act. 36,
I know where Michael put that one.
Nah.
At the top, he's really good at it.
It's on the far right.
pioneering, the ability to bring about something new, groundbreaking, or original.
Pioneering, is that what you said?
Yes, 30.
Say it twice, like say it so we can think about it and then say it again so we'll know what the first word was.
I feel like I'm doing a spelling bee.
There, yeah,
Well, then I lose.
Can you use that in a sentence, please?
Dad, when I lose, I can't spell.
37 is planning, the ability to arrange, map out, or prepare. Planning.
There you go, that's very good.
38 is promoting, the ability to sell, sponsor, endorse, or showcase. Promoting.
That's very good.
You get a star. 39 is recruiting, the ability to draft, enlist, hire, or engage. Recruiting. Number 40 is repairing, the ability to fix, mend, restore, or heal. Repairing.
It is kind of like you're doing spelling.
41, researching, the ability to seek, gather, examine, or study. Researching. Michael's immediately taking anything related to school and putting it in.
I heard study and I quit.
42, resourcing, the ability to furnish, provide, or deliver. Resourcing. Resourcing. Tongue-tied. 43 is serving, the ability to help, assist, or fulfill. 44, strategizing, the ability to think ahead, calculate, or scheme. Strategizing.
Like a scheme. Can I do your list?
That's the wisdom, right?
45 is teaching, the ability to explain, demonstrate, or tutor. Teaching. 46 is translating, the ability to interpret, decode, explain, or speak. Translating.
Hey, that would be a good one because if you go out of the country and you don't know any Spanish or something, that would always be good to find someone who knows English.
You can take Spanish and say that.
47 is traveling, the ability to journey, visit, or explore. Traveling.
No.
48 is visualizing, the ability to picture, imagine, envision, dream, and conceptualize.
Is it
That's
like
okay.
future or past?
Are you putting that on?
Visualizing would be the future.
That would be kind of.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Welcoming, number 49, welcoming, the ability to entertain, greet, embrace, or make comfortable. Welcoming. And number 50, which obviously some of you have trouble with, is writing, the ability to compose, create, or record. Writing.
Yeah, I don't think
As
I'm
long as they not
right.
spelling.
Unless I want to write what I want.
Okay, so how many of you have more than 3 in the love it column?
Oh, I
No, I have way more than 3. I have way more than 3. I have to go to another page.
do. Thank you,
Okay.
so did I.
All right, for those of you who have more than 3 in the love it column,
Narrow it down.
go through and circle the 3 which you love the most, that you could absolutely not do without.
I'm trying to figure out if there's
He
something
only
like
has
three.
3, so
I can deal with that.
like on his entire paper. Sorry, 4.
No, 7.
Oh, wrong.
Oh,
Communicating, I could not do without that.
3 is 3.
Like talking a lot.
Is communicating even one of the words?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It was one of the words. See, were you even listening? There you go.
Thank you, listening is not a talent that's on you.
Yeah, okay.
It's a
I'm
power.
You're having trouble. You're having trouble. You're having
All
trouble.
right, so everybody go through your list and circle your top 3, the
Oh, I
3
had to
things.
circle more than 3.
No.
Doing every column.
The 3, no, just in the love it column, circle the 3 things that you absolutely could not do without. If everything else was taken away, what are the 3 things in the love it column that you would not want to be taken away?
Ooh.
Now then.
Mr. Matt, all the ones that if they get taken away, that I do not want getting taken away is all of them.
They look pretty.
You sound like someone in my second period class. When she sneezes.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Okay, well, I have a lot.
See, that's why I didn't write numbers like you did.
All right, so who's got their top 3 circled?
2.
All right, Trasani, what are your top 3?
Building, leading, and creating.
Okay. Jared?
2, 3, and 44. Yes, he wrote numbers.
Analyzing, building, and
How did you know?
strategizing.
If you only wrote numbers, how did you know what they were?
That's why he just
I
said.
have a good memory.
Wrote the numbers.
No, you don't. The ones you asked me.
All right.
I
Cooking,
have a good memory.
Cooking, building, studying.
I'm going to bring you to
Cooking.
my house.
Yeah, I like
You don't
He
care
likes to
about
cook.
solutions.
So he likes to cook. That means cooking well. He says he likes to cook.
Oh, that's true.
Josh had to bring it to me.
All right, Jake, what's yours?
Cooking, building, and creating.
Okay. Michael?
Coaching, competing, and leading.
Okay. Casey?
Visualizing, creating, and engineering.
Tell me again.
Visualizing, creating, and engineering.
Okay. I would agree with that.
Cooking, drawing, and traveling.
Communicating, writing, and influencing.
Okay.
I circled teaching, communicating, which I think are really kind of the same, and planning.
All right. All right. So why do you think it's important that you identify your top 3?
right?
I have no clue.
But more than knowing what you're good at,
What you like.
you know what's important to you, right?
Yes.
You know what, of those 50 characteristics, you've identified the ones that are the most important to you. And we didn't give you a lot of time to think about it, although we had to repeat several of them several times. But the whole purpose, and the reason we didn't have them all written down, was because you have to use your head and your heart to answer. Okay? It's impulse. And impulse tends to be honesty. All right? So by doing it this way, when you're forced to think quickly, okay, do I like that? You know, could I do without that? Could I not do without that? How important is that? All of a sudden, your impulse is going to give you the honesty to know. And in some cases, where you have questions, you tend to balance heavily on the love it side, right? That's the reason, if you had time to truly think about all these things, you probably only end up with 5 or 6 in the love it column. The rest of them you can, you know, like it, live with it, or live without it, all right? But by doing it impulsively, you have to make a quick decision. Then by going back through and identifying those 3, odds are, if each one of you thought about what you would like to be when you grow up, it has something to do with those 3 things that you've circled, right? Is that fair to say?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Guess I'm being a coach.
You can see, well, but coaching, I mean, I do coaching. I'm not a coach, but I do coaching in my job. Because coaching is leading other people
Well,
and setting goals.
Coaching, competing, and leading.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
like a coach.
that's-
That's like a
that's
sports
what-
coach.
That's serious. That's what you
But
can
that's
teach
what-
other
yeah.
people.
But you
I mean,
can be a
that's-
motivational coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a performance coach with Home Depot in retail. My job was to go store to store, look at performance measures, and help coach their employees on how to improve. So I led, I coached, and what was your other one? Competing? Yeah. I mean, my presentation was always beat the guys in blue across the street. So it's that competitive nature. You know, you want to be the best. So, you know, it doesn't, so, you know, you may read your 3 and, you know, because you enjoy cooking doesn't mean you want to be a chef when you grow up. That's just something you really enjoy doing. Because yours is coaching doesn't mean you want to be a coach when you grow up. But you have those, now it may, but you have those talents, you have that natural inclination to do that. And so, regardless of what, I can guarantee you, when I talk to you in 20 years, and you're in your career, regardless of what it's going to be, you're going to be able to tell me what those 3 talents have to do with your business. Doesn't matter if you're a veterinarian, doesn't matter if you're a manager in retail, doesn't matter if you run a bank, doesn't matter if you're a coach, a teacher, a preacher, you're still going to be able to tell me how those 3 talents, you know, play. Because your dad would even, I bet he could tell you in his job, I bet he could take those 3 talents and tell you how those 3 apply to being a pastor. Your talents is just what motivates you. It's what drives you. And it's what helps you make decisions as you're going into college and as you're looking at careers. You want to try to find something that matches up with what you're truly passionate about. Life is too short to settle for doing things that you just like, or worse, you could do without. So why not focus on the things that you love to do? And no, Michelangelo, the famous Ninja Turtle, didn't say this. Michelangelo, the artist, did. The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that our aim is too low and we reach it. What do you think he means? The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it.
Don't set goals that are too high. Don't set
Get the foot off on the statues.
Do what?
Get the foot off on the statues.
Oh. I think I got it.
Okay.
Go lower instead, put your expectations lower instead of going too high. Because if you're looking for a job that does not match any of them, but you know that'd be a really good one for what you were looking for, but it would not match up with your skills, don't try and get to that job. Try and find a different one that matches your skills.
Okay. Michelangelo is saying the greater sin is to set your goals too low versus too high. Y'all have all heard the saying, if you set your goals among the stars, you know, if you set your goal to reach the moon and you miss it, at least you're still among the stars. All right? The problem is too many people set a low goal, and when they achieve it, they stop trying to set more goals. They become complacent. They become satisfied with a life that is not all that it could be. And that's what he's saying the greater danger to man, the greater danger to society is setting your expectations too low. Because you don't have to work hard to achieve them, and once you've achieved them, the satisfaction that comes with achieving that will prevent you from setting higher goals. It's better to set high goals and miss them than it is to set low goals and make them. Because if you set high goals and you miss them, the motivation is still there to work towards those goals, right? If you set your goals, if you have the ability to make an A, even if you make a B, you still want to work towards making that A. If your only goal is passing, you don't have to work near as hard then to make a D. So if your only goal is to make a D and to pass, you're going to achieve that pretty easily. Is making a D ever going to motivate you to make an A? Is having a goal of an A and just missing it, is that going to motivate you to make an A the next time? When you just miss it, and you look back and you see, maybe if I studied, one more hour, maybe if I didn't wait until the last night before the test to start studying, maybe if I didn't break the seal on my ACT book 5 minutes before the test started. Yeah, it's like Kaysen did. Kaysen was able to read the title page. That's about all he got out of that book. All right. So that's what Michelangelo is saying, is that it's more dangerous to you and to society to set low goals and achieve them because it erodes motivation. It's better to set your goals high and miss them because the motivation then still stays there to meet that goal. All right? So in Ephesians 2:10, it talks about, "For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared us in advance to do." Psalms 139:14-16, he writes, "Thank you for making me wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous, and how well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, and I was woven together in the darkness of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed." The reason those verses are important is they make it very clear that you and I are special creations of God the artist. God didn't create you to just take up space or just hang around or just become excess baggage on the planet. He created you to spend your life loving Him, loving others, and making a difference while you were alive. The spiritual gifts that He gave you, the heart and the passion that you have, and the abilities and talents that you possess are part of fulfilling that purpose. Ephesians 2:10 says, "For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so that we can do the good things He planned for us long ago." So now what? Once you have an idea of what your talents and abilities are, try to find a way to use those to help others. It's all part of serving others. Like John said in D Now, we're here for two reasons: to love God and to love others. So if we can find a way that we can take the talents, the heart, the passion, and the spiritual gifts that God has given us and turn those into helping somebody else, then we're fulfilling the purpose that God has for us and that He's had for us since before we were conceived. God has always known us. Even before we were formed in the womb, God knew us and knew what His plan and purpose for us was, right? So if we're able to take the spiritual gifts that we have, the passion and the talents and abilities, and put those to use to help others, then we are fulfilling that purpose. So think about, can your talents, regardless of what they are, be used to help other students at school? Can they be used to help your parents at home? Or can they be used to help someone in your church? Now what you may all be saying, I'm still young, what if I don't know all of my talents and abilities? How do you find hidden talents? Because all of us have some, and at your age, you're going to find as you get older, you're going to find that you are good at things that you may not realize you're good at now. Like I said, when I was your age, I was horrible speaking in front of a group. I was terrified to stand in front of it. It didn't matter if it was 4 people. I was terrified to stand in front of a group and talk. Over time, I developed that talent, and I had opportunities to develop that talent. And now, it doesn't really bother me at all. As long as I know what I'm talking about, I'm very comfortable regardless of the size of the group. So explore, serve, minister, sample, and test. Those are ways that you can help find that talent. Discover your hidden abilities, develop them, and direct them towards serving others. That's fulfilling God's purpose. All right, so we've talked about spiritual gifts, heart and passion, or abilities. Next week we'll talk about personality, and then we'll finish up with experience Each week, think of the area of study as a specific color God is using to bring out the clarity of your masterpiece. Yeah, we talked about at the very beginning, pretend that you're a painting and that God is using these different brush strokes to help create the painting of you. And so your spiritual gifts, your heart and passion, your abilities, your personality, your experience are all different colors that go into this painting. As your masterpiece takes shape, realize that your personal shape is God's gift to you, and how you use it is your gift to God. All right? Anybody got any questions about abilities? Yes, sir.
Our abilities, you said they formed an ability basically, you found it. Could you actually lose that ability?
Yeah, if you don't practice, if you don't use and develop that talent and ability has to be developed. In a lot of cases, it may be naturally given, but talent and ability can be developed. Now, spiritual gifts are things that God provides, and you have to just uncover and discover what those spiritual gifts are. Your heart and passion is driven through your emotion. Talents and abilities are things that you can develop. If I want to learn to cook, I can probably start right now, and in 10 years, if I really work to develop my cooking skills, I could probably be a top-notch chef in 10 years. That's a talent that I can develop. Speaking in front of people. Like I said, when I was your age, I was terrified to stand in front of people. Now, I have no problem. Doesn't matter the size of the group, I have no problem standing in front of people and talking. But that was a talent that I had to develop, where it talks about, a couple of slides ago, it talks about exploring, serving, ministering, sample, and testing. I had to test that. First it was speaking in front of a small group, and then the group got bigger, and then the group got bigger, and then the group got bigger. And then I ended up speaking in front of a forum that was about 7,000 people at a Home Depot event. So over time, you can develop those talents, you can develop those abilities and use them. So talents that you may, and it's not to say you can develop a talent that you don't have. Odds are you've got the talent, you just haven't taken the time to develop it. But you can take time and develop new abilities and new talents and be able to use those to serve others. That's the primary goal in determining your shape, is how do you take, we're looking for that way that you fit into ministry. And ministry being serving others for God, right? So it's how do you take that unique combination that you have. Hopefully all of you still have your spiritual gifts inventory. You don't know what the gifts are yet. You'll learn those in a couple of weeks. You've got heart and passion. You've got the activity that we did last week that tells you what you're passionate about, what you truly love to do. Now you've got a list of 3 or 4 talents or abilities that you feel like you have. So if you're able to take those spiritual gifts that God's given you, take what you're passionate about, tie that into the talents that you have. Next week we're going to look at your personality type. Introverted, extroverted, motivated, unmotivated. Different ways to look at your personality, and everybody's personality is a little different because there's several different triggers that go into personality. And then we're going to look at what experiences you have that have shaped you to be that way. One of the reasons that I like to work with you guys, and I like to work with you at your age, is because I know, now I had, when I was young, when I was in junior high, I had a great youth minister that I loved to death. Alan and his wife Lisa were phenomenal. Loved working with them. Then in my high school years, I had a youth minister who just was not there. There was just no connection, and it caused me to move out of the church, and it caused me when I was in college to be away from the church. The only reason I went to church was to play softball, because I had to go on Sunday mornings in order to play softball that week. So that's the only reason I went to church. The reason I like to work with you guys is because I've had those experiences. And that experience that I had, good and bad, hopefully helps me to be a good youth leader for you. It helps me to be somebody that if you have questions or you have things that you're going through, odds are between Cody and myself, we've been there. We've done that. And we can hopefully use our experience to help you make better decisions and to not make some of the mistakes that we may have made growing up. So that's the way that experience ties into our piece of ministry, is that we're able to take the experience of our youth and talk about how that can help you make better decisions in your youth. So you'll see spiritual gifts, heart and passion, abilities, personality, and experience are all going to come together at the end to create this unique piece that you have in the ability to serve other people. And when we talk about ministry, that's all we're talking about, is serving other people. It may be within the church, it may be within your school, it may be within your community some way, but it's service to other people. All right, any other questions? Everybody enjoying this so far? Are you learning something about yourself that maybe you hadn't thought about? You know, probably not something you necessarily didn't know, but maybe not something you've ever thought about in this context, right? All right, good.
I have an Apple notepad here with your 1, 2, 3. If you'll write your 1, 2, 3 down, and that way we'll have it.
Okay. All right, good deal.
How it
We're
works
done.
with others.
Bye, Reagan.